Three major tools I learned in the course of growing my leadership is what back in MT we refer to as the people management framework on the one hand. Now, I had evolved, and of course in my consulting practice, we've built so many things from our own experience and from what's happening in the world globally. We've pulled together a lot of global best practice, and we have synthesized a more comprehensive tool, and that's what we call the Line Manager's Toolkit. All right, so it's beyond just those individual things. So I'm going to speak to some of them today. So one of them is the People Management Framework. It's a framework that the organization introduced back then to help managers understand the need of their teams. And so it has 4 dimensions called the Know Me, Focus Me, Guide Me, Recognize Me. And it simply says, look, the voice of the employee is that, look, they want you to know them, they want you to focus them, they want you to guide them, and they want you to recognize them. And one of the implications of that tool is that it teaches you how to lead people with different personality types. So in that training, you have an opportunity to lead 4 people who have different type of attributes. If you are used to the Myers-Briggs or color energy or the other types of personality frameworks, people are different in the workplace. They all have a common need, and those needs are know me, know who I am, know my strengths, know my weaknesses, and use me according to my strength, and then help me with my weaknesses, right? And then it says, focus me, which is, look, let me know what you want, clarify for me the expectation, your expectation, and the organization's expectations of me. And it talks about guide me, which is coach me, teach me, tell me when I do good work, recognize me, praise me, reward me, award me, whatever, So it says that every employee has this yearning, and the extent to which you as a leader are able to understand, perceive, listen, and understand these needs and respond to them appropriately, that is the extent to which you'll be able to lead an engaged and satisfied team. When you fail to discern for the kind of personalities we refer to as ego, what it takes to know them, what it takes to focus them, what it takes to guide them, what it takes to recognize them, you will lose them and they will write you off. That happens when you fail to understand them. But each of these personality types have these needs in common. They all have different ways of expressing it, and they all have different expectations about how those needs ought to be met. So as a line manager, when you are not familiar with those techniques, you will derail, you will have issues, you will run into challenges, you will hit the rock with them. Now let me try and illustrate. If you have used a Mac and also a Windows PC, you will agree with me that the way you open and operate a window in Mac is different from the way you open and operate a window or an application in a Windows PC, a Microsoft Windows PC. Now, if you attempt to run a Mac, like, let's assume that you've been used to, maybe for the last 5 years, 10 years, you trained on Windows, everything on Windows, and then suddenly somebody gives you a new Mac, and then you open your Mac, and for the first time you entered into your Mac, you are tempted to log in and run an application like you ran it on Windows. Do you think you'll be successful? The answer is no. Why? Because the OS of the Mac is completely different from the OS, the operating system in the Windows. So what must you do? You and not the Mac will be required to go and learn how the Mac works. You have to change your skills. You have to change your approach. You have to change your attitude. You have to change your mindset in order to work with a Mac. So the PC did not change, but you, the user, had to change. That is how it is with people. Now, I would say there are 4 different types of people in the workplace. Now, if you don't know how to use them with their different OS, or with their different character and personalities and everything, then you will fail as a leader. And naturally, you will blame the people, but the truth is that you will be expected to have made the necessary adjustment to all the people. And so, if you look back to the American case, I saw you use those examples from time to time. President Trump was blamed for not being able to unify America. And like I said, there was nothing wrong. He was having fantastic results and everything, but he was just not able to carry all of them together. And that is critical to national leadership, because at that level, everybody plus the LGBT plus the Satanists plus they are all your people. They are all your children. You will have to learn and carry them along. And the same things applies to corporate leadership. You have to learn the various generations of people in the workplace. I mean, remember we talk about generation of people, the baby boomers and the generation Y and everything. You have to learn their characteristics, and that's why that knowledge is important. And learn to manage them the way they are. If you try to manage the Y generation like you manage baby boomers, you will run into problems. If you have the authority and nobody's watching, yes, you can sack them all you want. But if you get into a multinational where everybody's individuality and diversity is respected, then you will be the one that will be kicked out. So these are toolkits that you must pick up. How do I know you? How do I focus you? How do I guide you? And how do I recognize you? These are key. You must understand how people want to be known, focused, guided, and recognized. If you're going to be successful as a leader or as a manager at every level, else you keep running into trouble. Now, at the beginning of your leadership, if you're in a good organization, people would understand and tolerate you. But as you go up, they will begin to expect that you as the leader too need to change. Because every time you move to a team, the news is that you have fired everybody and you've replaced them with the type of people that are like you. Then you move to the next team again, you fired everybody and you replace them. Very soon, management will start getting worried about you, because maybe some of the people you are firing are people who are bringing in very good, meeting their target or exceeding their target, who are related to some key people in the board or in government that maybe the leaders hired, for political reasons. And then they are now needing to tolerate. No. At some point, they will have to make a decision whether they want to retain some of those key staff or whether they want to retain you, and you don't want that to happen to you. All right. I remember I was speaking to a cousin of mine who is a pilot. He's a helicopter pilot, and he told me something that is also very important and related to this. He said, do you know that if you are, as a pilot, you are trained to fly a particular helicopter. If you are ever going to fly another type of helicopter, then you have to go back to training school and learn about that helicopter and then come and operate it. Can you beat that? So they are all helicopters, but not all helicopters are the same. They are all Boeing, but not all Boeing are the same. So if you are going to stop or you're going to move from flying this Boeing to another Boeing, you have to go back to school and learn about the new Boeing. And that is key. That is exactly what is required of us as leaders. The people are computers. The people are the various Boeings. They can fly. They are as good as the leaders can fly them. So that is why we say leadership, managing is not easy, because you have all these various types of human beings and you are the one who has to change. And so when leaders get paid bigger salaries and given bigger privileges and people get envious, I tell them, you don't understand. It's a big responsibility. So it's not about the title, it's not about authority, and if you learn to live that way, then you missed it already completely. All right. It is the fact that you have a lot of work to do in order to carry everybody along. Right? So I had to learn, my first lessons in leadership were around the people management framework. I had to learn to manage people, understand the various type of people in the workplace, understood how to hear and discern the voice of know me, focus me, guide me, recognize me, and understand how to respond to them. It was very, very critical. And my first award from the story I shared earlier was actually as a result of managing people. The last award, so if you see the one on the right, was as a result of being able to manage people along that framework, right? I was the first recipient of that award, one of the first recipients of that award. It was a CEO award for managers, and I was one of the first recipients because I did this very, very well. The second tool I learned that was so important to my success was the Blanchard's Toolkit, all right? He called it the Situational Leadership. Right? And in situational leadership, right, I think I should be leaving these slides now. Okay, so there are three frameworks, and there's the STARS framework. So let me move to the next slide. Yeah, so that brings it up. All right, so that brings out all the frameworks. Now, the second framework, which is the Blanchard's Situational Leadership, is a framework that simply tells you as a leader what your responsibility is to the team. All right, and it talks about the need for you to have two attitudes towards the team. I mean, there are two key responsibilities, that you have towards the team members, which is one is to direct them, and the second one is to support them. So those are the two things you must bring into the team, all right? And in doing that, you combine these two in various ways, which results in 4 styles of leadership, which is called directing, coaching, supporting, and delegating, all right? Again, I will not go into this. I think our time is spent, so I'm just going to wrap up, all right? But this was key to helping me navigate the various persons and how to respond to them. And guess what? Did I make mistakes? Yes. And whenever there was a mistake, it was because, and when I go back to reflect, I find out that it's because I missed a critical step or a critical lesson in this framework. So in directing people, it simply says that when people are new to a task or new to an organization, and they are the competency levels are between the low competency level and low confidence level, and their low commitment level. Typically, when people are new to any job or any organization, the commitment level is high. They're excited. That's called the honeymoon phase, right? Everybody's happy. I look forward to serving this company. I will bring my best, and all of that. So the commitment level is high. But then, and the confidence level is usually typically very high. But then the competence level is usually low. And so the story, what we used to illustrate that is the story of a child and a bicycle. You buy a bicycle for a child. He's never cycled before. He's probably seen his mates on TV, and then, or people on TV, cycling, and then you buy the bike. The first thing the child does is tell you, let me ride. And you're like, no, let me show you. No, let me ride, because they're excited, they're happy, and they feel they know, and then they jump on the bike. But guess what? The moment they take their first step, what happens? They fall down. They pick up again. They try the second time. They fall down. I remember I went with my kids to a pool once, and after they showered, they were coming to the pool, and she was so excited. My last daughter was so excited. And the elder ones were good swimmers already. They had experience with water and everything, so they jumped in, and she just went and and they were like, no, let's hold you. No. She was like, no. And then she jumped in. After taking 3-4 cups of water, and they rescued her. And we, of course she came out. And then, no, leave me. And then she did it again. And she that took 2 more cups. The next thing was like, let me out. And we're like, okay, all right, come, let me hold you. No. And for the rest of the time, she was just sitting by the side of the pool. Now, at that in Blanchard's model, what we say is that at that level, they have realized their competency level is low. And guess what? Their competence and commitment drops. Fear comes in. intimidation comes in. And guess what? They have actually learned something. They have a new experience. They now understand how the water is, how the bicycle is. That's competence grown. In some level of competence, because competence about skill, knowledge, experience, and attitude. Something has happened to you. But at that moment, commitment has dropped, confidence has dropped. At that moment, they cannot be effective. Ken Blanchard recommends that there's a style of leadership that you then need to apply at that stage for that worker. I've used bicycle and I've used swimming pool, but in the workplace, the same thing happens. Somebody is new to a project, he's excited about it, but the minute he starts, he fails. And then what do people do? Some managers, instead of them to support them, provide that supporting behavior, what happens? They begin to hack them. They begin to say, "I will never give you this kind of opportunity again. You failed me. You disgraced me. You messed up the opportunity." And then before you know it, the person says they'll never go near that thing again. And that's how we begin to lose people and lose engagements and everything and all that. So that level of competence is called the D2, and the style of leadership that is applied is called the S2, where you provide more support. All right, you provide high support and high direction. The direction. So when the boy falls down and then he doesn't want to ride, he say, "Come," and then you say, "You can do this thing, but you know what? Let me guide you." And then you put the guy back on the bike and you say, "Okay, put your leg here," and he puts his leg there. Put it on the other side, okay? Now hold me, okay? Now hold this hand, okay? Now I'm going to, and then you hold the bicycle and you are moving the child. Now you are providing complete support and complete direction. You are not saying, "Okay, ride it." No. You are to do this. Now raise your leg up. Now bring it down. Now you assume complete. You are micromanaging. Someone say, "Micromanaging is evil." Wrong. There's nothing wrong with micromanaging. You have to apply it in the right situation. There are times in the developmental curve of a staff where he needs to be micromanaged, and there's a time to delegate and hands off completely. And that is the D4 level, where you apply the delegation S4 style. So there's no time to go through all of that, but I get excited talking about it. Our time is going now. I'm conscious of the time now. So essentially, Ken Blanchard's Situational Leadership says that, look, people are at different levels of development, and as they change, you are supposed to change and adapt to that situation. And it's not just people when they move to another task again. So it is person-based, and it's also project-based, and it's also task-based. So as a leader, you become a chameleon. You then need the wisdom to know when to change, to know when to switch, to know when to wear which hat as a leader. And that is where the problem is, because a lot of times as leaders, because of the way the mind actually works in such a way that we are always trying to look for patterns so that we can just rest. We want to be in a comfort zone. But leadership is not comfort, because we have different situations thrown at you every time. Now, the third important tool I learned was the STARS model, which speaks to the path. Now, it speaks to the company situation. So as a leader, you need to be, again, the third thing you need to be sensitive to is the situation of the company. Every company at different stages. And so STARS means what? Is the company at a startup? Is it a T for turnaround? Is the company at a turnaround? A, is the company at an accelerated growth stage or situation? 4, R, realignment. Is the company at a realignment stage? 5, sustaining success. Is the company at a sustaining success stage? What is the circumstance? What is the situation of the organization that have been called to lead? What's the situation or the circumstance or the condition of the project that have been called to lead? If you do not know this and adapt your leadership to it, again, you will derail. You will fail. So these 3 frameworks, these 3 tools, all of them with their details, all right, helped me navigate the early stages of leadership, all right, and has helped me come this far. And I tell you, for a long time, as you know this and as you get better at them, as you move from company to company, from situation to situation, from project to project, from people to people, you find that you get better at influencing them and getting them to follow you, right? First of all, is knowing the people and their cries, the cries of the various type of people, the voices, of the various type of people that are following you. Know me, focus me, guide me. Second is to understand their situational, their developmental level, and know how to respond to them appropriately with the right style. Thirdly is for you to understand the situation of the company that you've been called to lead and to know which leadership style to apply.